So we've been to the vets with Mr. Cockerell, and I thought to myself this morning, was sort of thinking about, we're going to have to box him up and take, or when I was going to make the appointment, that he doesn't have a name, and quite often the vets will ask you what your animal's called. And I was thinking he doesn't have a name, and I was trying to think of a name, and I couldn't really think of anything that I'd be happy to call him. We just don't name our chickens. So yeah, he hasn't got a name. But we went, and I've got the bill here because I thought I'd be interested to compare it perhaps to the UK. I don't know what it's like if you go to the vets in America. We noticed all around the room at the vets that we were in that they'd got silhouettes of different animals, and they'd got dogs and cats and rabbits and iguanas and hamsters, but no chickens. Don't think people take their chickens to the vets. I've got to work out how to put this round the right way for you. If I put it there, is it going to be... No, you're not going to be able to see it. Is it back to front? It might be back to front. It was €75. It's back to front. €75 for 5 days of subcutaneous antibiotics, and the vet gave him one whilst he was there, and we've got to give him the other 4, and 5 days worth of Metacam twice a day. He took it really well. I was a bit surprised really that he didn't like being at the vets, but once he got sorted and once he settled down, he took the medication really well, and he's pretty good really when you're trying to treat him. So we noticed when we got there and stood him on the table. I need to get this comfortable. It's not comfortable for me. Oh, that's better. We noticed that his other leg was red as well. Not as bad as the left leg, but his other leg was red. So I'm pleased that we've taken him. They're coming up now. They're thinking, what's she doing? So yeah, €75. I don't know. I imagine that if that were in the UK, you're looking at 200 quid. I don't know. I might be completely wrong. But yeah. So he's coming up now. So we left the chickens closed in all morning. I felt bad leaving them closed in, but I mean, that they've got a big space in there, and they're chickens. Chickens are fine, but the only way we were going to be able to catch him would have been catching him in that area, and we didn't want to keep him in the box for long. The box that we used was just big enough. It was certainly big enough width-wise, but height-wise it was a bit tight. But he was fine in there. The journey down to the vets is only 15 minutes there and back. Well, 15 minutes each way. And actually, when we were standing waiting whilst the vet was drawing up, because he drew up all the syringes for the 4 days, as he was in his drawers drawing up antibiotics, Cockerell just sat down in the box. Just thought, oh, fuck this, I'm going to sit down. I'm exhausted. But he was good. He was really good. He took the injection he probably wouldn't have felt. The vet showed me how to do it. And I think the way that he held his head when he gave him the Metacam, I think he must have put some tension on the beak, because the beak was just slightly open, and he very calmly took it. And I think that that's not going to be an issue for us. It's meant to be twice a day for 5 days, so that's going to be interesting, trying to catch him in the mornings. At night's easy because it's dark, but catching him in the morning's not going to be so easy. So yeah, Mark's about to come out and mow. I think he's out the front. I can hear him. I'll show you the chickens. Oh, the other thing I was going to say before I move on from the vets, it's odd, our vets. They're in France, but they're mainly Spanish. So we go in and we start speaking in French, and And then Mark lapses into English. I go, no, no, French, French. And he goes, and the vet says, well, I can speak English. And then Mark says, are you Spanish? He goes, yeah. And I say, well, yeah, of course, we'll speak English there. Just like, so our vets are mainly Spanish at that particular veterinary surgery. So they speak Spanish and French and English. It's clever, isn't it? So these have all come up now to see what I'm doing. Sorry about the blue sky. You all right, Mr. Cockerel? What are we going to call you? What sort of name do you want? Oh, I was just about to say something gentle, but it looks like you're creeping up on somebody to do something not so gentle. You okay? None the worse for your wear? Bit thirsty? Ida's down the garden sleeping. She's not come up. Yeah, we saw all this yesterday. It's beautiful though, isn't it? That's the apple blossom on the Jonah Gold apple tree. And the lilac, white lilac. And of course the wisteria up there. Oh, and me. On Zoom, I think. Am I on Zoom? Oh no, I can't zoom it this way. So what I'll do is I'll pause and then we'll do a bit of Mark mowing. Because you haven't seen that before. The vlog I made yesterday was there was a lot of action that you couldn't see. I hadn't realised. I thought I'd got the camera adjusted in a way that you could see what was going on, and of course you couldn't, but I thought you got the idea of what was happening. Yes, it is diatomaceous earth. I never call it that. I always call it diatom. I've been using it for years, and I've still got. My friend John came over probably 10 years ago with I don't know how many kilos. It was probably just a kilo, but because it's so light, it's incredibly light. It's like talcum powder. It's lasted forever. I don't use it loads because of the conditions that they live in. We don't have the same level of need for it in terms of red mite or anything, so we don't really use it that much. But I've still got a third of the big tub left of it, so I just dip into it like yesterday and I can use it quite liberally. I've given it away before. I've given it away to various people, given them bags of it, but it looks like, I think if he'd been stopped when he brought it over from the UK, it looks like raw heroin. But nobody stopped him. God, that was years ago. Yeah. So that's what that is, and it's crushed up. Diatoms is sort of it's a pussycat. It's just the pussycat. He got her head caught in a bag. It's sort of, I can't remember now, to do with the tiny creatures that eat coral. It's the skeletons of these tiny, so it's not coral, but it's the skeletons of these creatures that eat coral, I think. But they're minute, really, really tiny, but actually sharp. So what they do is you give these diatom in their food, or like yesterday they had it in on the bread. It goes in and breaks into the cells of the parasites that may be sitting there in their crops or their stomach or for Ida, say her stomach, but he's not been gaping. Now he may not have. There may not have been a gape worm. He just might have been having a bit of a gape. But I don't like it when I see that, because I know that it's just horrible gape worm. It's just, if you Google it, you'll see it's not a nice thing to have lodged in your throat, because that's what it does. It sort of lodges itself in your throat, not yours, but in his. So, but he's not gaped at all since he had it. So I'm sure he's going to be feeling a lot better, once the anti-inflammatories begin to work and antibiotics, in a couple of days he should. But he doesn't look or seem ill, or he's not off his feet. He's been really well, hasn't he? So, but I'm sure he'll feel much more comfortable once that all gets going. Right, I'm going to pause it now and then I'll set it going again when Mark comes round with the mower. Have a little bit of mowing. As you can see, we're still open up there where they've been painting. And back door's still open. I tried to clean that this morning. It got worse. I'm the cat that went hunting for a lizard. Got my head caught in a paper bag. I'll stand my tripod here, he might miss my bluebells. I'm hoping that he's going to miss around the micro station again, but a bit further around it. Hope he's remembered. mowing around the bamboo is quite important, not so much at this time of year, but in 2 or 3 weeks' time it will start shooting up through the grass. So mowing's quite helpful, and during May and June, when it's at full growth capacity, we tend to go along that patch every evening on the way back from putting the chickens to bed, and take off the bamboo shoots to keep it confined. And that's why he's going down there round the other side, along between the bamboo and the hedge, for the same reason. It'll be nice when Ludo's come and taken away all the building materials, construction materials. It's coming on, I can't remember now, maybe next Monday? What's today, Friday? Monday, or maybe not. It's coming soon to do the, to finish off the fencing, and I hope that includes removing all the rubble. He said that it's got a much better turning circle than the old one. That is a good turning circle. It's actually leaving clumps of grass, which it shouldn't do for a grass collector. Don't know why it's doing that. No, Mark, it's not been emptied. He's terrible for overfilling things. So the grass collector's probably very full. There we go. I think that's enough, isn't it, of one man went to mow. Bit of a long vlog. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. Yeah, chucking out a lot of grass. Okay, bye.